Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretschmer. This is the first of several parts you'll be hearing over the coming weeks about ethics, about behavior, about education of the layman by medical professionals. My guest on these programs will be Dr. Brick Lance from Oregon and Jack Pike, a physician's assistant in the Hartford, Connecticut area, and who is also on the staff here at WIHS. This is the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9. I'm Paul Kretschmer, and on our broadcast today, I have a couple of guests, and the first guest is a staffer actually here at the radio station who people are familiar with through his Southern Gospel Spectrum of Sound broadcast, Jack.
Yes, great to be here. Thank you, Paul.
And you have a friend who you would like to introduce to be a major part of this conversation this time.
I would. It's my honor and privilege to introduce to our audience a friend and a brother from Oregon, Dr. Brick Lance. He practices orthopedic surgery out there, went to medical school in University of Oklahoma. He's currently a member of the Board of Trustees for the Christian Medical and Dental Associations, which I was on that board until last year. We served together. He's also the Oregon State Director for the American Academy of Medical Ethics, which is the DBA of CMDA. And Brick has led multiple medical trips to Haiti for many years. And he's also the medical director of Dove Medical, which is a local pregnancy resource center. And several years ago, Dr. Lance developed the Bridging the Gap program, which is really what we're talking about. And we'll let him kind of go ahead and maybe talk a little bit about the genesis, what brought this about, and what the goal is for that. So, Brick, thank you so much.
Hey, good evening. Yes, pleasure to be here tonight, and I'm certainly delighted, as I always am, to talk about this curriculum that is actually absolutely free, and it's online at CMDA, Christian Medical Dental Association. It is a very robust curriculum of how to teach bioethics or ethics. Not how to teach. It's just a curriculum to teach bioethics within the church. So that's what it's designed to do. And Jack, you asked about how did it come to fruition? Well, It was a long labor of love over many years. Our previous CEO of CMDA, I had multiple conversations with him over the years about life in Oregon. And I would just complain about and we can discuss various topics, but I would complain to him year after year about things that happen in Oregon that really were almost against medical science, let alone I would consider some of them certainly unethical. So I think he took to heart my years of complaining. He said, Brick, I'm going to put you in charge of this commission. We're going to call it the Church Commission. I'll get you the people to serve on it, and you can find some as well. But let's put together a curriculum for the churches to teach on these issues. So I gathered information from 40 different bioethicists and physicians around the country for about 3 or 4 years, gathered it all together, edited, and purposefully made it in a Q&A format. So it's to be either a small group, could be a large group, but for someone to facilitate a question and answer session on a lot of these issues. And I can go through all the modules. So it is a very robust curriculum. What I like to state is why a Q&A format? Well, if you read the Gospels and read them clearly, or for that matter, the epistles as well, Jesus asked over 300 questions in the Gospels, over 300. You'll actually often see him asking a question when he's asked a question. And, of course, Paul in his writings would often ask questions, many of them very rhetorical. I have my 2 favorite questions out of all those hundreds and hundreds of questions in the Gospels and the epistles. I have 2 favorite ones. Can I share those 2 favorite ones, Jack?
Absolutely.
So my favorite, I'll do my second favorite, and it's Paul in Romans 6. And he actually says it twice in Romans 6. And he's again talking about the grace that God has bestowed on us. And he goes, what then, are we to sin more so that grace can abound? Very rhetorical question. Of course, the answer is no. but he obviously trying to make a point with his rhetorical question. The other question that Jesus asks is, I still laugh every time I read it. There's actually some humor in the gospel, in the New Testament, in Scripture. So Jesus is walking along the road to Emmaus. I believe it's Luke 24. And I'm going to paraphrase it. So he comes across two dudes, and he goes, "What are you guys talking about?" Jesus saying to the two dudes walking down on the road to Emmaus. This is, of course, after the resurrection. And they turn to Jesus, and they say, "Do you not know what has just happened?" In other words, are you not from here? Are you not from around here? I mean, this is the biggest news. This is the King of the Jews who was just crucified. And he was to be our king. You don't realize what happened? And Jesus' response was two words. So here again is the creator of everything. Was the creator of all the world, all the universe, including creator of all morality. It was the focal point of all history himself. And he says, "What things?" So I laugh at Jesus' response to these two dudes. He says, asking him if he do not, what things had happened. He goes, "Well, what things?" Obviously he knew, and he was trying to get a response out of them. So I like the Q&A format to get a response. The other thing I like to say is, if we're to share truth, and any kind of truth, it can be moral truth, it can be scriptural truth, it can be practical truth, we need to listen. In other words, if we don't listen to someone else's opinion or their ideas and we just espouse truth, we're not very effective. We can be much more effective if we actually listen to other people and then give a response that is based on rationality, that is based on scripture, and that's also based on medical science. And so that's what Bridging the Gap is all about.
And I know you developed several topics, and I don't it might go over those topics. And also, I'm interested in what your experience has been, either personally or with other people who have used these, and as to its effectiveness.
Yes, I can certainly share on personal experience. I know that other churches, hundreds and hundreds of churches have used the curriculum, which is it's encouraging to me. In fact, our current CEO of CMDA, and if people don't know, CMDA is a very large organization. So it's more than just physicians. If you take all membership, so not just physicians, it's probably about 30,000 strong. Mm-hmm. So it is the largest Christian healthcare organization in the world. Mm-hmm. But as far as the response that I've gotten, anyway, so our current CEO has done it personally in his church. He did it over 8 weeks. But as far as, let me just tell you what the modules are. So there is an introduction, and the introduction is kind of fun. Just talking about bioethics, what are the issues in our culture, why are they divisive, and then talks about for healthcare professionals, what virtues are important for the healthcare professional. And also, and Jack, maybe you would agree with this, I just think that those in healthcare, those that deal directly with patients on a one-on-one basis, we have a unique opportunity or a unique position to actually share what's true and what's right.
Absolutely.
One of a series of messages, Dr. Brick Lance from Eugene, Oregon, and physician's assistant Jack Pike, who is also on the WIHS radio staff. Dr. Lance is online for the next several editions of a series to talk about an educational program between medical professionals and laymen. For further information, call us at 860-346-1049. That's 860-346-1049. Or you can email us, office@wihsradio.org, office@wihsradio.org. The opinions expressed are those of the participants, not necessarily those of the staff or management of the station. I'm Paul Kretschmer for the WIHS Journal, Public Affairs from 104.9 WIHS.